From our Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum. I am Aishah Ashraf. Our top story for today: Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil is suing the Trump administration for $20 million in damages. Khalil was detained for over 3 months in immigration jail. His arrest followed his role in campus protests against Israel's genocide in Gaza. Khalil's lawyers say it was false imprisonment and malicious prosecution. Khalil is a legal U.S. resident. He says he suffered severe anguish in jail and still fears for his safety. Texas floods have killed at least 111 people, with more than 150 still missing. Now, Democrats are demanding an investigation into weather cuts by President Donald Trump's administration to key weather and emergency agencies worsen the disaster. Senator Chris Murphy said the assault on the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the National Weather Service, and the Federal Emergency Management System, or FEMA, may have made the floods more deadly. Since Trump returned to office, Weather Service staffing has dropped by 20% at nearly half of its field offices. FEMA lost nearly 2,000 permanent employees. Though the White House insists that agencies performed well, Democrats argue critical roles were unfulfilled, including a top warning coordinator in Austin, Texas, who retired early. Senate leader Chuck Schumer wrote to the Commerce Department's Inspector General, warning that the loss of experienced personnel hurt coordination and emergency alerts. Trump's Department of Government Efficiency also cut $880 million in FEMA's pre-disaster funding. This left vulnerable areas like Kerr County without sirens or updated flood gauges. The Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, has issued administrative subpoenas to Harvard universities demanding records related to foreign students since January 2020. A subpoena is a legal order requiring a person to testify or hand over documents at a specific time. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said the school has repeatedly refused to cooperate, forcing the agency to act. The subpoenas come amid allegations of disciplinary bias against non-immigrant students. The move follows a string of actions by the Trump administration, including revoking Harvard's certification to host foreign students and freezing federal research grants. Officials accuse the university of civil rights violations by failing to protect Jewish and Israeli students during anti-Israeli genocide protests. Harvard denies those claims, saying it has taken serious steps to combat hate and support affected students. The university slammed the subpoenas as unwarranted and called them harmful overreach. Still, it pledged to comply with lawful demands while defending its right to academic freedom. DHS has warned other universities to take note of the consequences of non-compliance. In related news, Free-Palestine demonstrators rallied outside the City University of New York, or CUNY's central office, calling out what they called political repression. The protest centered on the suspension of student activist Hadiqa Arzu Malik, known for her Palestine advocacy. Speakers condemned CUNY's move as retaliation against student activism and demanded her immediate reinstatement. Organizers say academic freedom is under threat and warned of growing intolerance against dissenting voices on Palestine. CUNY has not yet publicly responded to the protest. The United States has imposed sanctions on Francesca Albanese, the UN Human Rights Council Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territories. Washington accuses her of pushing the International Criminal Court to act against U.S. and Israeli officials for the genocide in Gaza. The sanctions come after Albanese released a report last week naming major companies for allegedly aiding Israel's occupation of Palestinian lands. They include Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, and Palantir. The report cited their role in supplying military hardware and surveillance tools used in the Israeli-occupied territories. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced the move on social media, calling Albanese's efforts illegitimate and shameful. He accused her of launching what he called a campaign of political and economic warfare against the U.S. and Israel, and said such actions will no longer be tolerated. Rubio stressed that America stands by its allies and their right to self-defense. The UN has yet to comment on the sanctions. New York City mayoral nominee Zohran Mamdani addressed teachers at the United Federation of Teachers, or UFT, headquarters in Manhattan. This is on the heels of the union's endorsement of Mamdani earlier this week. CBS News reports that 63% of the UFT's 200,000 members supported a resolution to back him. In his address, Mamdani, joined by UFT President Michael Mulgrew, focused on education challenges facing New York City. Mulgrew warned the school system is at a crisis point, citing severe staffing shortages. Mamdani sharply criticized Tier 6 of the teachers' retirement system, calling it unfair, and pledged to prioritize pension reform if elected mayor. Mamdani also took aim at the policies of Mayor Eric Adams and President Donald Trump. If elected in November, Mamdani would become the first Muslim mayor in New York City's history. Tech billionaire Elon Musk says releasing files linked to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is a top priority for his proposed political party, the America Party. In a post on X, Musk questioned former ally President Donald Trump's credibility. He asked, how can people trust Trump if he would not release the Epstein files? He confirmed exposing those files would be a major goal of the new party. Tensions between Musk and Trump have grown, with Musk recently slamming Trump's big beautiful bill as insane and destructive. Musk, once Trump's biggest donor, had called for his impeachment but later backtracked. The America Party, which Musk floated last month, aims to represent the political middle ground. Its affiliated PAC reportedly spent $239 million backing Trump and Republicans in 2024. The photos of Trump with Epstein exist. Trump denies knowledge of his crimes. The U.S. Attorney General recently said no Epstein client list exists to be released. 17 firefighters allege the Washington's no-beard policy violates religious and medical rights, citing discrimination and career harm. Details coming up next. Welcome back. A top Homeland Security official revealed in court that Immigration and Customs Enforcement used shadowy pro-Israel websites to investigate international student activists. Peter Hatch, an assistant director at ICE, admitted that his team relied on anonymous blacklists like Canary Mission, known for harassing pro-Palestinian voices. The disclosure came during a major trial challenging the Trump administration's crackdown on foreign students. Lawyers argued that the government used these sites to silence critics of Israel and chill political speech. They say targeting outspoken students was part of a broader agenda tied to Trump's policies. This is the first time a U.S. official has confirmed using such controversial sources in immigration investigations. Analysts say the court case could have major implications for academic freedom and student rights in the U.S. Democratic leaders have slammed Florida Republican Representative Randy Fine for making what they called racist and Islamophobic remarks targeting Muslim lawmakers. Fine referred to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and others as terrorists in a social media post after Omar criticized Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's recent visit to Washington. Fine wrote, "It's difficult to see us welcome the killer of so many of your fellow Muslim terrorists." He also earlier posted a photo of Omar, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, and New York mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani, captioned, "Muslim terrorists hang out together." House Democratic leaders Hakeem Jeffries, Catherine Clark, and Pete Aguilar condemned the comments as dangerous and called for an immediate apology. Meanwhile, some GOP lawmakers have demanded Mamdani and Omar be deported. President Donald Trump also threatened to detain elected officials opposing his immigration policies, prompting Mamdani to accuse him of political persecution. 17 firefighters in Washington, D.C. have filed a federal lawsuit against the city's Fire and Emergency Medical Services Department. They allege discrimination over a policy that forced them to be clean-shaven. The firefighters say the policy violated their religious rights and ignored medical conditions like pseudofolliculitis barbae, a painful skin disorder affecting many black men. Some plaintiffs follow Islam or Orthodox Judaism and keep beards for religious reasons. Others say shaving harms their skin. The department reassigned them to non-firefighting roles for nearly 2 years, sparking claims of unfair treatment and career setbacks. The lawsuit follows a green light from the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Israel killed 63 Palestinians in airstrikes on Gaza on Wednesday, including women and children. In Deir al-Balah, Israel soldiers killed 15 people waiting for aid, among them 10 children and 3 women. 4 family members died in a strike on Burej refugee camp. Drone attacks on Nuseirat killed 2 and injured 10. In Khan Yunis, Israeli strikes on tents for displaced people killed 5, including 2 children, and wounded 20. Israel killed the mother and her 3 children when their home was hit. The UN has slammed Israel's push to force Palestinians toward Rafah. Doctors warn that fuel shortages now threaten 100 premature babies and 350 dialysis patients. President Donald Trump says a Gaza truce deal is very likely, but Hamas says talks in Qatar remain difficult. Israel's genocide in Gaza has killed more than 64,000 Palestinians, the majority of them women, children, and the elderly, according to a major study published in the British medical journal The Lancet in January. According to Gaza's health ministry, more than 136,000 people have been wounded. A Turkish student has won top honors in Portugal for creating an AI travel app that blends culture and gaming. Yusuf Yilmaz from Istanbul's Yildiz Technical University developed the app after facing travel challenges during a 5-month exchange. His interactive guide, which uses AI to create real-time quizzes and exploration tasks, took first prize in the gamification category at Shift Appin's 2025. The app helps users discover cultural landmarks through games and rewards. Users can earn points for discounts by completing city challenges. Yilmaz says the idea came from his own travels across Europe and uses language models to generate content automatically. The web-based demo soon will be launched as a mobile app. Fallout continues over China's planned expansion of transplant centers in Chinese-occupied eastern Turkestan, officially known as Xinjiang. Rights groups and lawmakers worldwide are calling for urgent international action and sanctions over what they call state-run organ trafficking. China has announced plans to set up 6 new medical centers in East Turkestan that will provide transplants of all major organs. This is prompting experts to warn of increasing forced organ harvesting of Uyghur Muslims. There are an estimated 60,000 to 100,000 organ transplants in China each year, although voluntary donation stands at just 0.69 donors per million people. The UN Human Rights Office says it is reviewing China's transplant program amid fresh reports of forced organ harvesting targeting Uyghur Muslims. Advocacy coalitions have urged the World Health Organization to suspend China from its organ transplant advisory body, citing gross ethical violations. In Washington and Brussels, lawmakers are pushing for sanctions and trade restrictions on Chinese medical suppliers linked to the system. Meanwhile, survivors and whistleblowers are being invited to testify before European and U.S. parliaments. China has again denied all allegations, calling them politically motivated. But pressure is mounting for a transparent, independent investigation. First Nations tribes in Canada are in mourning after ancestral remains were uncovered during excavation for a parking lot at an Ontario nuclear plant near Toronto. The remains were found on the historic Scugog carrying place, a sacred site long used by Indigenous communities. In a joint statement, chiefs from the Elderville, Scugog Island, Hiawatha, and Curve Lake First Nations condemned the digging as a desecration. They accuse Ontario Power Generation and its contractor of ignoring well-documented heritage protections. The tribes say the burial site's cultural significance has been recognized in books, articles, and heritage studies for years. They allege OPG violated the Ontario Heritage Act by not conducting a full archaeological assessment before beginning work. These are not just graves, they are sacred connections to our ancestors, the chief said. The incident has sparked renewed calls for companies to consult Indigenous communities before disturbing known cultural sites. Virginia tech scientists are using sound waves to help treat rare brain disorders. Scientists say this technology also could help treat brain cancer and other neurological diseases in the future. A research team has found a way to deliver creatine, a popular muscle supplement, directly into the brain using focused ultrasound. Creatine is crucial for energy in muscles, the heart, and the brain. But a natural barrier in the brain blocks most supplements from getting in. This breakthrough could help people with creatine transport deficiencies, which affect brain growth, speech, and memory. The method is still being tested in labs, but experts hope it will soon move to clinical trials. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.